what do you make of this latest Times drop, which, apparently they're feeling the frustration that their first editorial board urging that President Biden drop out did not do the trick. And this one points directly at Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi, and says as follows: for those at the helm of the Democratic Party, including those three, the time has arrived to speak forcefully to the president and the public about the need for a new candidate before time runs out for other candidates to make their case to the party's convention delegates. It says a whisper campaign is inadequate to the moment.
Well, I mean, the time is running down, right? And all of this depends upon Biden agreeing to step down. So the question is, how much pressure can be brought to bear on him? And even if, the maximum amount of pressure is brought to bear on him, will he, in fact, step aside? It doesn't seem to me at all clear. I might be wrong about this, but it doesn't seem to me at all clear that he is going to step aside, that he's just going to run out the clock and he's the Democratic nominee, and that's that. So one of the reasons that the editorial writers are as panicked as they sound is, so far, Biden has been successful running down the clock.
Mm-hmm. And how long do you think they do have? I mean, the Democratic convention is in August, but the actual nomination will take place much earlier than the actual convention. I think it happens at the first week of August because they're going to do it online and via Zoom. So there's really only a couple of weeks in my estimation of how they could, or when they could sub him out.
Yeah, there's a little quirk, which is that the Democratic convention is too late to meet the legal requirements for being on the ballot in Ohio. So what the Democratic National Committee has proposed, meaning the White House has proposed, is that they move the nomination vote up to early August in order to qualify for the ballot in Ohio. That fits, as it happens, that fits their current plan almost perfectly. And you have, obviously, you have the Republican National Convention next week, and then you have the Olympics. So there are two major events that help Biden run down the clock. Mm-hmm. And that appears to be their strategy. It's for you and I, it's absolutely incredible that this is what they're going to do, but apparently this is what they're going to do.
Meanwhile, you have top Democratic operatives like James Carville, who for a while now has been calling for Joe Biden to not run for a second term, predicting as follows. He had a piece out yesterday, an op-ed saying exactly this, and then he went on television and doubled down, SOT 6.
He's going to come to the conclusion that this is just not a good idea. And he's going to resist it, and he's going to listen to his family. He's already it's all the same. We blame the staff, then we blame the media, then it's the elites in the Democratic Party. Do I look elite? What the hell's elite about growing up in rural South Louisiana and going to LSU? And this is all across the country, and I understand it's all predictable, and he's got to go through this, and he'll get there sooner as opposed to later.
Sooner opposed to later. Where's your confidence come from?
Chris, I don't predict things. I'm just telling you it's inevitable. He will come to the conclusion. People will get the message to him. He will understand. His family will understand.
Do you agree with that, John?
I do, except I'm not sure I'm right. It seems to me that that in order to get Biden out, you need the core constituencies of the Democratic Party to tell him to get out, right? And the core constituency, the most important constituency of the Democratic Party, are Black Americans. They are the very core of the Democratic Party. They're the most reliable constituency. And, if you had to look at one person, probably be Representative Jim Clyburn as to how the Black community black voters are looking at Biden. It initially appeared that Clyburn was, edging Biden off the stage. I'm not so sure that's where he is right now. Other members of Congress, black members of Congress, have been very supportive of Biden so far. But in 1974, Senator Barry Goldwater, Senator Hugh Scott, and Representative Jim Rhodes went to Richard Nixon and said, "You've lost the support of the party. You have to resign." And Nixon resigned. And that moment has to happen on the Democratic side in the next month. And Clyburn clearly would be one person who could make the march up to the White House. Schumer, Jeffries, I guess, would be the other two, but I'm not at all certain that Biden would listen.
The op-ed that Carville put out mentioned Clyburn, and what he said was, look, Clyburn spoke with New York Times opinion columnist Ezra Klein about a possible Democratic mini primary. And Carville says, I want to build on that. This is Carville. I want to see the Democratic Party hold 4 historic town halls between now and the Democratic National Convention in August. One in the South, the Northeast, the Midwest, and the West. We can recruit the 2 most obvious and qualified people in the world to facilitate substantive discussions, Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. Think the Super Bowl with Taylor Swift in the stands. The young, the old, and everyone in between will tune in to see history being made in real time. I would advise Presidents 42 and 44 to select 8 leading contenders out of the pool of those who choose to run, with Kamala Harris most definitely getting a well-earned invite. To me, this reads like a Democratic pipe dream, because as you pointed out 30 seconds ago, none of this can happen unless Joe Biden walks off stage left. And all of his messaging publicly, there's been some reports that behind the scenes, he says he understands he's only got a few days to prove his vigor to keep his role in this race. But every message publicly has been, I'm not going anywhere. So what do you make of this plan that Carville outlines that, he correctly intimates Clyburn expressed an open mind to at least a few days ago?
I mean, I think it's a great plan. It would be fantastic television. It would be great for the Megyn Kelly show because you could talk about it. After each, I guess you would call it debate or forum. And I think it would actually be a very good way to find a new nominee. The problem, obviously, is that Biden may not buy in. Biden is the nominee unless all of the delegates decide not to go with him, and there's no indication that that's the case. So, it's a wonderful plan, and it gets right back to where we always are in this thing, which is unless Biden agrees to it, it's not going to happen.
Let me tell you a story about a guy named Leo Grillo. Leo was on a road trip and came across a Doberman. This dog was severely underweight and clearly in trouble. Leo rescued the dog and named him Delta. Sadly, though, Delta was just one of many animals that needed help. And all this inspired Leo to start Delta Rescue. It's the largest no-kill, care-for-life animal sanctuary in the world. They've rescued thousands of dogs, cats, and even horses from the wilderness, and they provide their animals with shelter, love, safety, a real home. April marked 45 years since Leo rescued Delta. Delta Rescue relies solely on contributions to stay open. If you want caring for these animals to be part of your legacy, speak with your estate planner because there are tax benefits for you here too. You can grow your estate while letting your love for animals live well into the future. Check out the estate planning tab on their website to learn more and speak with your advisor. We call dogs man's best friend for a reason. You can help those who need it most. Visit deltarescue.org today to learn more. That's deltarescue.org. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.